Hello, and welcome to today's student CPD session with a focus on stress management. This is going to be a very tricky topic to navigate, but it's one that is so important. You'll notice from the title that it says stress management. It doesn't say how to get rid of stress, it doesn't say how to protect against it. It is about managing. Because stress, whether you want to like it or not, is here to stay. And someone once told me that the right amount of stress is very useful. It's when it gets too much that we get the problem, which is why the focus starts with today's session of stress management. We are going to look at different strategies you can use to manage the inevitable stresses of being an A-level student. As I've already said, it's natural. It's annoying, but it's natural. It's what you would expect to happen. The NHS have this as their descriptor. Stress is the body's reaction to feeling threatened or under pressure. It's very common and can be motivating to help us achieve things in our daily life. It can help us to meet the demands of home, work, and family life. If we think about the motivator to run when under threat, so buying back into the fight or flight emotions that we've spoken about previously. If you've been afraid of something, the right level of fear will protect you from it happening again. And this is what my friend tried to explain to me once. If you once, as a child, put your hand in a fire and were burnt, you will protect yourself from not doing it again by not putting your hand in the fire. You have learned that that is a danger and it's one that you can avoid. Stress as an emotional response is the same thing. It's your body trying to mitigate the problems that it thinks it's about to face. But that's the problem. You can't always tell what's going to cause you stress or where the next piece of stimuli is going to come from and make life really difficult for you, which is why it's easy to get overwhelmed and it's problematic trying to decatastrophize once it's got to that stage of stressed. And that's where this term tends to be overused a lot when it's, I'm stressed. And you think, yeah, most people are, but managing it, taking control of it, that's within your grasp. Today, I'm just going to take you through a couple of different ways that you can think about managing your responses to stress and your behaviours after stress. The next slide that we're looking at is sleep, and your sleep pattern is important. As a child, you would have been told by your parents to go to bed at a certain time, and this was to protect you. So this was because they knew, and themselves to be fair, they knew that if you didn't get the right amount of sleep, that you would find the next day too challenging and more often than not result in tantrum. You will notice there the title of the slide says get the right amount of sleep, not enough or 8 hours, it's the right amount. Studies have shown that for each person, the right amount of sleep differs. So, whereas I can get by and perform at my best on 5 hours sleep, the chances are you might need something different. It's connected to your thyroid function, and that again would be a different chemical connection for every person. So, take some time to work out if you think about a weekend where potentially you've slept in for 13, 14 hours, and as a teenager, I probably did the same. Do you always wake up feeling really refreshed? Do you always wake up feeling better? Maybe not. So, this is something you're going to have to work at over a period of time to think about what is the right amount of sleep for you. Once you know it, make sure that you respect that for yourself. Now, if I were to show you this picture and started the same sentence of, wow, I got some sweets and I'm really excited. These are my favourite sweets. That's looking at what I've got and I'm celebrating what is in front of me. And these just so happen to be one of my favourite sweets. And yes, I am actually still a child. But this is the issue. When compared to what somebody else has got, suddenly my sweets don't look as good. Suddenly my sweets seem less than, or I can be a little bit disappointed in my sweets because, well, they're smaller, they're not as varied, and they're not Haribo. So when we do that, we create for ourselves a very toxic environment. Instead of looking at what we have and being thankful and considering how we can enhance it, we compare ourselves to somebody else. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be the thing that you have. It might be a grade. It might be someone gets a better grade that you perceive on an assignment that you wanted. Comparison should be with yourself, and it should always be within perspective. So if you were pleased that you'd achieved something, celebrate the win, celebrate the success. Don't be tempted to compare your success to somebody else's because that's theirs. Celebrate with them, congratulate them, let it be a motivator. Don't allow it to overwhelm you because that's where the common understanding of stress, of feeling like you're not good enough, is going to start to seep in, and that's not allowed. If you look in any book or website at how to manage stress or how to deal with stress, you are always going to find a section on exercise. Annoyingly, again, you can't walk away from the amazing benefits of exercise. It took me a very long time to appreciate running, but now I wouldn't be without it. Not expecting everybody to start, I found Couch to 5K amazing and will advocate it all the time. But it doesn't have to be your way. What I'm encouraging you to do, though, is to find something. And in any situation where I've spoken to a student that is finding things just a little bit too much, I often tell them to take a walk. Get yourself outside, move away from the environment that is causing you stress, anxiety. Get in to be able to see that you are a one part of one situation is so refreshing and useful. So if you can, sunny day or not, again, there are so many expressions that say there's no such thing as the wrong weather, just the wrong clothing. But move away from the situation that is causing you harm and that stress, that problem where it's got too much, and find a way to distance yourself from it. But that is temporary. It's not going to be an everlasting solution. Build exercise into your routine so it becomes natural, so it becomes part of how your body copes with different stimuli. And just to be clear, there are a variety of things that you're not allowed to say exercise is. So, for example, looking at the books on the bottom shelf does not count. Eating a chocolate bar doesn't count. Yes, it uses muscles in your face to frown and smile, still not exercise. Lifting the remote to change the channel, not okay. Or pulling the blanket higher, still not an exercise. Find something that's fun. Find something that gets your heart racing, but make sure that it releases the endorphins that you need to ward off the negativity. I remember being asked this question and laughing because what a ridiculous question. Has anyone ever taught you how to breathe? Well, no, because I'm pretty sure if I didn't just breathe when I was born, I wouldn't still be here. But then I was shown how to breathe, and oh my goodness. As I've mentioned, everybody at some stage will experience stress, young or old, it is a part of our existence. But breathing is so important in combating the harmful nature of stress. And I'm just going to talk you through a strategy now that might be a game changer when you're faced with a variety of stressful environments. If you could place the palm of your hand, left or right, it doesn't matter, at the base of your rib cage. And so when you breathe in and out, your hand should move. Now, if you're female, chances are this is going to be underneath your bust. If you're male, it's halfway through your torso. So if you breathe in and out, you're going to feel your hand move up and down. You're bringing enough oxygen into your body so that you can engage your muscles. And it also helps to focus on what you're actually doing and eliminate those harmful ideas that you can't deal with the situation in front of you. Because I promise you, you can. But it is about perspective. The last thing I want to leave you with is a little bit of encouragement. This is a conversation I was having today with my students on Teams. They were talking about how their parents don't understand how stressful their environment is and that they don't seem to be able to communicate that back to their parents. And it's difficult as someone who is older to not side with the parent, but then as a teacher, I see how difficult things can be for my students. So my advice to them when they were saying it's just not fair or they don't understand our time, I said, remember that times have definitely changed. Without sounding too much like a boomer, Facebook wasn't around when I was at school, but there were things before Facebook that were still fairly toxic. And I imagine that your parents aren't that much older than me. Also remember their struggles were very different, but struggles still existed. As I said at the beginning of today's video, the problem with stress is that you will never be able to avoid it. What you need to avoid is when it gets too much. You have to be able to manage it. The right amount of stress will lead you to revise. Knowing that you have an exam coming up soon will motivate you to open your study. It's when it gets too much and you feel that you can't manage it, when you can't take control of it, that can become very, very dangerous. The picture on the last slide is of my brother, my elder brother, who took his life because stress was just too much. Don't find yourself in a place where it's too difficult to keep going. There is always an answer. Reach out to the achievement coaches, reach out to teachers, reach out to parents or friends, and let them help you, because we are all in this together. It's a sentence that has been bandied around during COVID-19, but actually the thing that we're all in together is life, and it can be really tough. As always with these videos, I like to set you a little task at the end. The task today is going to be fairly brief, and I want you to think about the ways that you can self-care. Again, another expression that is shared very quickly, but not always explained. When you start to feel overwhelmed, make a list of things that you know are naturally calming to you. I head straight to Audible. I go straight for a walk and listen to a book. That's one way I can ensure that I will get my perspective back. That doesn't work, it's going to be going for a run. So spend the next 5 or 10 minutes listing a variety of different ways that you can protect yourself, that you can give yourself an out. It would be really helpful to share these with other people so that they have a bank of resources to manage their stress and their workload too.